Over the past year, my marriage has begun to feel less like a partnership built on love and more like a business arrangement. I never imagined we would end up here. We used to be that couple everyone admired, the ones people thought would last forever. But what looks perfect on the outside can sometimes hide what's quietly crumbling on the inside. In the beginning, our relationship was alive with warmth. We were gentle with each other, deeply connected both emotionally and physically, always offering support without hesitation. But over time, something began to shift. At first, it was so subtle, I could almost ignore it. I told myself it was probably stress from work, the weight of daily responsibilities, or simply the dull edge of routine. I decided to give her space, believing that maybe she just needed room to breathe. I didn't want to push. But instead of drawing us back together, the space only seemed to push us further apart. I remember lying beside her at night, reaching for her hand, and feeling her slowly pull away. I planned quiet dinners, last-minute getaways, little surprises meant to bring back our spark, but there was always a reason to decline. Whenever I brought up the lack of intimacy, she'd say she was tired, not in the mood, or just not feeling herself. I would ask if something had changed between us, and she would reassure me everything was fine. But when someone you love keeps turning away, those reassurances stop offering comfort. At first, I thought the problem must be me. Maybe I wasn't showing enough affection or doing enough around the house. So I tried harder, took on more chores, cooked her favorite meals, and gave her even more space, hoping she would miss me and want me again. But the distance I created didn't pull her closer. It built a wall between us. She used to look at me as if I truly mattered. Now it was as though I barely existed. Our conversations became short and practical. Bills, errands, chores. She stopped asking how I was doing in any meaningful way. Inside, I was unraveling. I felt rejected, unwanted, and painfully alone. And I started to realize that intimacy isn't just about physical touch. It's about the closeness that binds two people together. That bond between us was fraying a little more each day. I suggested we try couples therapy, hoping it might help us find our way back. She brushed it off, saying I was overthinking. That response stuck with me. It made me wonder if I was just being too emotional, too needy. Slowly, doubt crept in. And eventually I started to withdraw, too. I stopped trying so hard. No more late-night attempts to cuddle. No more gentle kisses before sleep. I began to close off the part of myself that longed for her, the part that still hoped she would reach for me. If she didn't want me, I wouldn't keep asking for what she wasn't willing to give. Ironically, that's when she noticed. She began asking why I seemed distant. At first, I stayed quiet. I didn't want another argument. But it was clear she didn't like seeing her own indifference mirrored back at her. She began leaning on me again, asking for help with small things. For a while, I went along with it. But eventually, I stopped saying yes to everything, not to punish her, but because I finally understood that if my feelings didn't matter to her, I couldn't keep sacrificing myself just to meet her needs. This wasn't bitterness. It was self-respect. She didn't take it well. She accused me of being cold, selfish, and distant. But I stayed calm. I told her the truth. Every time I tried to get close, she pushed me away. Every time I opened up, she shut down. Now, I was simply giving her the same distance she had given me. For once, she didn't argue. She just sat in silence. Maybe my words finally sink in. Maybe she really saw, what I had become, someone who had stopped chasing her love. A few days later, she asked to talk. This time, there were tears. She admitted she hadn't realized how shut off she'd been, that she had been feeling overwhelmed, maybe even depressed, and didn't know how to talk about it. She apologized, saying she had taken me for granted, assuming I would always be the one fighting to hold us together. I listened, but I didn't rush to forgive. Apologies are easy. Real change is what matters. I told her I needed space too, not to hurt her, but to figure out whether we could truly rebuild what we'd lost. Since then, she's been making small efforts. She booked a session with a counselor. She's been more affectionate, even if only in small gestures. It's not dramatic, but it's something. For the first time in a long time, I'm not the only one trying. That matters. I'm not proud that I had to emotionally step back to get here. It's not who I am. But I've learned something important. Love cannot survive as a one-sided effort. You can't keep pouring into someone who gives nothing back. These days, we still have our difficult moments, but at least we're honest now. She no longer expects endlessly from me, and I no longer give more than I should. We're learning to meet somewhere in the middle. I don't know if this will save our marriage or simply soften the landing if it ends. But I do know this. I will never again beg for love, and I will never again give from a place that's empty. Not again.